Okay. Now, there were a few questions which came from you guys, right? One of them was that how to put a form control in a radio button, right? So to do that, I have created a radio button like this. So what I have done is in my it's TS file, right? In my form, this is my form one. I have taken another form control which is gender. Right. Now the values of gender can be male or they can be female. Then in my HTML file, I added another div, this div, and inside this I gave label, and inside this I gave an input, and its type is radio, and its value is male, and in the same way another one whose value is female, and I gave it the form control name. Now form control name, right? It's same for both the input fields. May it be radio, may it be male or it can be female. So my form control name is same for both the fields, right? So that is how I created or say attach the form control name to the radio button. Then what I have done is table may I have created one another header which is gender and then यहाँ binding कर दिया, right? So let us try doing this. I give another some name to email. I say b@b.com, right? Then I select city as Nagpur and then I select female and I click on submit. So I get female here, right? It is pretty easy. What have I done? I have simply I simply gave form same form control name in both the input fields. That is what I have done. Where my type is radio. Is it clear? Right. So that is what I have done. And it is pretty easy. No rocket science in it. Right. Only thing is that you need to think logically. Right. Now we'll try one more validation. Let's say we have a validation for name. Right. Now in this, what I'll do is let's say that the minimum length of our name should be 5 characters. So what I'll do is in my app.component.ts, right, in this name field, right, I'll add validators. So I'll say validators dot required. So it is a compulsory field. That is why validators dot required. And I'll say validators dot min length. And I'll give length as say 4. What it means is that its minimum length should be 4. What I'll do here is in my HTML, I'll give, let's say, some error text. I'll say in my div, I would say, and this div would be star ng if equals to uh, name dot invalid. Now, if my name is invalid, right, what I'll do is I'll have a p paragraph, and in this I would say name is required and should be कितना 4 लिया था ना तो 4 in length, right? So let's see. And I'm not getting anything here. If my name is let me check. Cannot read property name of undefined. Okay, so I need to give it fully. So I need to say my form one dot controls. dot name dot invalid. Let's see if this thing works. Right, so it is giving me this error. Name is required and should be 4 in length. Now what I would do is I will say name dot touched or name dot dirty and it is invalid. Right, so now it gives me a, if I type a single character, it is giving me this error. Right, I type second, same error, third, same error, fourth, the validation got removed. I can also give it a style. I'll say style equals to color colon red. In general, we show error messages in red color. That is why I'm giving style equals to red. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. यहाँ तक is it clear? So what you need to do is you need to add for a field level validation. You need to add validators array right in your form control, and you can give whatever validations you want in that array. Right. And what did I give here? I said that if it is touched or if it is dirty, these touched and dirty, these are provided by Angular itself. And it is invalid. So ideally for every field, whatever validation you are putting for, if you have to give an error, validation error, you should always have these two things. Think of it as a mandate so that things would be easy and it would look uh, very responsive, I would say. I won't say attractive because attractive, to make it attractive, you need to use proper CSS, right? But to make it responsive, right, and interactive instead of responsive, add these things along with your check whether that validation is invalid or not, or that field is invalid or not, right? That is what you need to do. You can also have, let us say, if we have multiple validation, right? Let's say if I say that comma, sorry, I say validators dot max length and I set it to 6. So what it means is that your name can be either 4, 5 or 6. Right? That is what my validation is as of now. Now let us check this out here. I give 1 wrong, 2 wrong, 3 wrong, 4 fine, 5 fine, 6 fine, 7 again wrong. Right? So that is how you add different validations. Right? You can also have pattern set. I can say validators dot pattern, right? And in my pattern, right, we can add a pattern like this. I can say A to Z, capital A to capital Z, and star. Let's see if this pattern works. See, now I'll also put an error message. Error message would be name is required, should be 4 in length, and should contain only characters. Now, this is what is a regular expression that I am putting. What I have done here is that every name, right, should have a pattern, and that pattern would be, it can contain small letters, it can contain capital letters, right, and star stands for 0 or more occurrences, right? That is what star stands for. So if I try to put integers in it or any number in it, it should fail. And let us check this thing out, right? I say A. So standard validation passed. And if I give a number, it is giving me should only contain only characters, should contain only characters. Right. So this validation is failing in this particular case. Now, what you need to understand is that where these validations would come into picture. If you are using mobile number, now different countries have different mobile numbers, different patterns of mobile numbers. Like in India, we have mobile numbers which are say 10, whose length is 10. So it should be exactly 10, right? So you should always give I mean, validator, you can give min length 10, max length 10, right? Or you can specify a pattern as well. Right. Along with that, you should ensure that it should contain only numbers, right? And the number should start either from 9 or 8 or 7, right? So that is how we would have our validation. So that is a little logic that we need to apply, right? So what you can do is you can Google for getting the regular expressions for mobile number in India. If you Google that, you'll get all the patterns. Sir, can we display that error while click on submit button? Yes, Vaishnav, we can display that error while click on submit button. Only thing is that for all your errors, right, you need to set a flag in that submit button. You should say inside submit, you should check whether your form is valid or not, the function of your submit. And if that form is valid, if that form is invalid, you should set a Boolean variable to true or false, right? If that variable is false, what it means is, and you should have ng if displayed everywhere here, right? So instead of one single thing, right, what we can have is ng if is equal to my form dot invalid. If you do that, you'll be able to check. Is it clear? It would require a little bit of logic and it can be done, right? So, but a better way or a better solution is as soon as we type, we should get the errors. That is a much better solution. Generally, what happens is that whenever you have a value or a form, right, that data goes to some server and the server sends you uh, the validations or the error message. If that is the case, then you should do it while submitting. Instead, you should do it at the runtime. So that makes it more interactive. Is it clear, the validation? Can you please show validations of password and confirm password using function? Okay. So what I'll do is I'll have div. In div, I'll have input, right? Type equals to password, right? And I'll say form control name equals to password. Right. I'll have another div. Okay. I also need to give a label. I'm giving two things. One is password. I'll take another one is password one. So let's say I have two form controls here. One is password, another one is password one. I'll add the two form controls here. I'll say password, new form control, right? And I'll also say validators dot required, right? And I'll have password one, again new form control, I'll say again validators dot required. Right. Then in my submit function, what I'll do is in inside submit, right, I'll say check password, and I'll have a function check password. Now in this, what I'll do is I'll say let p1 equals to this dot my form1 dot value dot password, and I'll say let p2 equals to this dot my form1 dot value dot password one. Right. You can also go via controls, means this dot my form1 dot controls dot password dot value. Right. That way also you can get its value. Then I'll say if p1 equals to p2, I'll say return true. Otherwise, I'll say return false. That's what I would do. Right. And in my submit, I'll call this function. How will I call? I'll say if check password, right, means if this dot check password is true, right, so do all these things, right, else simply say, as of now I'll just give an alert. I'll say alert, uh, please put proper passwords. I'm just giving an alert, but you can do whatever validations or whatever messages you wish to do. Right, now let's see if this works. I'll have a email a at the repeat.com. I'll have something, say mail, right, password I'll give a, and here I'll give ASAS. I'll click on submit. It says please put proper passwords. Right, now instead, if I give a and I'll click on submit, right, it added. Is it clear? Okay. So this is just one way of doing it. There can be n number of ways of doing this, right? But this is just a very, very simple way which I tried or which I displayed. Touched और dirty क्या है? Touched मतलब कैसा है कि अगर आपने यहाँ पर क्लिक ही नहीं किया है, एनजीएफ में कैसा हम लोग क्या डालते हैं, दैट वेदर दैट फॉर्म इज इनवैलिड और नॉट, राइट? तो this particular field is always invalid initially because we have not put anything in that field, right? So what it does is, what touched and dirty does is that it checks whether you are active on that field, you have, or you are in that field or not, and if you are, only then it will display that error message, right? So if I type something in this, only then it displays, otherwise it does not. Clear? Okay. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to share, right, this link with you guys. Right. Just open this link. If you open it, right, what you would see is that you would see, right, a big JSON array coming to you. A very big JSON array coming to you. Right. So if you would see it properly, what it is I got this link from this site. right? So what this link is doing is, right, this particular link, especially this link, right, it is an API. API means, as of now, you can simply think of that there is a server which is running, right, and you are trying to request that server, right? So generally there are four types of requests that you make generally, right? One is create request, second is update request, third one is get request, and one is uh, you can say delete request, right? So what we are going to study right now is a simple create request, right? Sorry, a simple get request. Now get request means that we will try to get the data, we will try to get the data from this particular server. Now this server can be created in any language, any server side language, maybe Java or CPP, or maybe uh, even Node.js, right? So this server can be created via via these languages. So what actually that server does is, server is nothing but something that is continuously listening, or a software program that is continuously listening, and you send request to that software and the server would appropriately respond, right? That is what a server does. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to display this information, we are going to display this information, right, in our application, right? Now this is a server. Server means again an external application, so we are trying to connect our UI via Angular to the server. That is what we are trying to do. Once we get this JSON, what we would do is, we would assign this JSON in one of our data members, and then we will do ng for to display that in our HTML. Right. So to display these properties in HTML, that is what we are going to do. Right. Now you all need to be very attentive in this particular case. Right. This is something which is heavily used while creating UI. CSS वगैरह easily सीखा जा सकता है, right? But making proper external requests or API requests or API calls, right, is what you should understand. So what we are going to learn today is how to make a get request. Now to get the data from the server, what we first need is an endpoint. Now what is an endpoint? Endpoint is nothing but, you can say, the entry point where you can make the request to the server. Now, in this case, right, this URL which I have sent you is your endpoint, right? And what we are trying to do is, we are trying to make a get request to the URL. Now, as you can see that even a browser, if we hit the URL, what it actually does is, it makes a get request to the server, whichever server it is running, whichever website we are running, we are requesting. So let's say if I type google.com, what the browser actually does is, right, it sends a request to appropriate server of google.com, right, which is hosted over internet, or which is instead of hosted, I can say, which is available over internet. And that website or that server will send appropriate contents which the browser will display. Now browser understands XML, or you can say browser understands HTML, browser understands CSS, browser understands JavaScript. That is what a browser understands, right? As well as the browser understands JSON, right? So that is the reason we are able to see this JSON in our browser, right? Now, what is our task? Our task is to make a GET request on this URL, that is our endpoint, fetch the data, and once we get that data, right, what we will do is, we would display that data in our components or in our HTML. That is what we would do. For this, what is required is, we require services. Now, what is a service? A service is on Angular side. What is a service? Service is nothing but say something that interacts with the outside world. or outside application, right? That is what service does. Right, now let us see one by one what we can do or how we can do. Right, now let me tell you how to create a service. Right, so I am in my Angular application. Here I would create or generate a service. I would say ng generate service, and I'll call it countries, because this is a countries API. You can give any name that you want. I'll press enter. What this will do is it will create a countries.service.ts file in your app folder. So let us see in our app folder, as we can see, we have a countries.service.ts, right? Now this service is static. That is, for every component, you can use this service, right? As of now, just keep this thing in mind, right? Here, what I would create, and what is a service? The service is nothing but a simple class. Now in this, I would say get countries. Right, I have simply created a function get countries. Now this function would be responsible to talk to the external URL. Now what I'll do is, to do that, right, what we require is, we require a module to talk to external server. So what I would say is, I would say import HTTP client module from @angular slash common slash HTTP. And I'll add this module in our imports array. Now, whichever module you are using, right, or whichever component you are in, if you wish to use that service, you need to add it to the corresponding components module, or to the module to which that component belongs to. That is what you need to do. Right, so I imported HTTP client module, right, and I added it in the imports array. That's what I have done. Then the next thing which I would do is, after I have imported my module, I will go to component.ts file, sorry, to the service.ts file, and here I will import HTTP client from, again from @angular slash common slash HTTP. Right, that is what I have imported. This is the second step. First step is to import the HTTP client module. What is the second step? Second step is to import the HTTP client in our service. Now, what is the third step? Third step is to inject this HTTP client in this service. How will we do that? I would say private HTTP colon HTTP client. It's not module. I just need HTTP client. So what have I done? Third step is to inject my HTTP client in this class. How do I inject? In my constructor, I just create an object. Right? That is how I inject. After that, what I would do is, now we are ready to make the call. So I would say this dot HTTP, this is the object of HTTP client which I have used, dot get. So get is our request, and in this get, what it wants is the URL. So I would say, I would copy this URL and I would paste it, right? And I would say dot subscribe. Now subscribe is, it returns an observable. Now I'll give you, say, a scenario. The scenario is that since this is an external call means that you are calling something outside your application, right? So we never know how much time it would take to return the data, right? We never know, because that is an external application, right? There can be input output issues, there can be some issues, right? It might have various issues, right? So what we do is, or what such APIs do is, they always send you an observable. Observable का मतलब क्या है? That it will continuously ping and check whether that data is arrived, right? एक बार वो data आपको मिल गया, right? Then it will send you a notification that the data has arrived. So generally कैसा होता है, हम लोग सब्सक्रिप्शन लेते हैं कोई भी एक ऑब्जर्वेबल का. सब्सक्रिप्शन का मतलब क्या होता है कि whenever say a new edition arrives, जैसा हम लोग कोई मैगजीन का सब्सक्रिप्शन लेते हैं, तो मैगजीन में क्या होता है, whenever a new edition arrives, right, we get a notification. जैसा let's say if you have subscribed to a YouTube channel, अगर आपने सब्सक्राइब किया है तो क्या होता है कि अगर कोई नया वीडियो ऐड होता है, यू जनरली गेट अ नोटिफिकेशन समवेयर, right, maybe in your mail or maybe in the YouTube application itself, right? That is what is a job of subscription. So in the same way, your get request, it returns an observable, right? And what you do is you always subscribe to an observable. That is what you do, right? So in subscribe, it takes a callback function as a parameter. Now this is a callback function which I am giving here, right? And in this, I would simply say, as of now, console.log success. Now, if you observe this carefully, what is this? This is simply an arrow function, right, which is passed as a parameter to your subscribe. So if it is successful, we pass the first parameter. If it is not successful, I'll pass the second parameter. What is the second parameter? It is for error. So if error comes, if there is some error, right, it will send you an error message. So this particular callback would be called if there is an error, right? Otherwise, if everything is proper, it will give you this callback, or it will call this callback, right? Now, currently, right, this get countries, right, it is going to, even if we reload our page, we won't get anything. Why won't we get? Because we have not called it, right? So unless we call this get countries, right, we are not going to get neither success nor error. So to use that, what we need to do is we need to inject our service in our component. How do we do that? First, we'll import our service. So I'll say import countries service from dot slash countries dot service, right? You need to give appropriate path from wherever you are importing. In my scenario, my path is app and both my component.ts as well as service.ts, they are present in the same file. Now, once we import the service, what we would do is we would also inject that service. Now, currently, I am not having any constructor here because it was not auto generated. So I would say constructor, and in my constructor, I would say private, say CSER, just for saying that it is my country service. Now, this is my constructor, right? And in my constructor, what I will do is I will call that function. So I would say this dot CSER dot get countries, right? I'll give a semicolon. So whenever my page is loaded for the first time, this constructor would be called, and we are calling get countries here. Now, if we look here, what we have got is we have got 250 entries in our array, right? I am not sure 250 countries hai kya, but anyways, right? That is what I have got. ये मुझे कहाँ से मिला है? Be rest assured that I am not writing this array, right? Somebody else has written it and he has exposed an API, right, over this URL. That is what that guy has done. What we are doing is we are just calling that here. That is what we are doing here. And this thing got printed. लेकिन ये जो आपका एरे है, कंट्रीज का एरे, ये कहाँ प्रिंट हुआ है? ये प्रिंट हुआ है आपके सर्विस में, यहाँ. But what we want is we want it in our constructor. right? So to do that, what we should do is we should remove this subscribe here, right? And instead we should simply say return this dot http dot get. Then in our component.ts file, what I would do is I would subscribe here. I would say dot subscribe. Again, success callback. Success callback would be, I would say console.log success. And my error callback, here I would say console.log error. अब मैंने क्या किया, अब मैंने इसे अपने कंपोनेंट में ही प्रिंट करा दिया. नाउ लेट्स सी. Now it is printing in app.component.ts. Now I got all the countries in my component. How did I get? I just returned this function get का जो भी output रहेगा, which would be an observable from this get.countries. And in my TS file, I subscribed to it. So I got that in this variable success. Now we need to display this. We need to display this in our UI or HTML. Now to do that, what we need to do is we need to create some data member. I would say countries colon any equals to a blank array because that is an array. And I would simply say this dot countries equals to success. That is what I would say. Now I got that entire array in my data member, which is countries. The next thing which I will do is I need to bind this countries in my HTML. Now let us check what are the different fields which are present in that array. Right. The fields are first we have name है क्या कहीं होगा ही name. Yes, we have name of the country. Then we have area है, capital है. So as of now, let us display name, area, and capital. So what I would do is in my app.component.html, I'll remove all these things. Abhi bore ho gaya. Right. I'll use a div. Right. In my div, I would say star ng for equals to let C of countries. Right. Then I would use say h1 and I would say C dot name. Then I will use say h5. I would say C dot capital. कैपिटल का स्पेलिंग क्या रहता है? TAL है कि TOL? TAL ठीक है. Okay. Right. And I'll use maybe an H6 and I would say C dot तीसरा क्या लिया था? Area. Right. And I will click on save. So if you see, right, we get all the countries here. We get all the countries here. Right. This thing also has a flag somewhere. Let us also display the country's flag as well. Okay, then there is another data member called as flag. Right, let us use this flag. Right, so what I will do is here I will use an image. I will say style equals to height 100 px, width 100 px. If I do not give this, बहुत बड़ा हो जाएगा. Then I would say src equals to, and inside src I'll bind it to C dot flag and I'll close this. So we get the flags of the country, of every country, right? And that is how we display the elements. Then let's see what else can we have. Hmm. Okay. We also have an array of languages here. Right. Now, since it is an array of languages, what we should do is we need to display these languages. What we would require is an ng for. Right. So, what I will do is I will have, let's say, uh, again an h6 tag. In this h6, I'll try to give star ng4. Okay. In this h6, I will give a span. In span, I would say star ng4 equals to, I would say let L of C dot languages. Now, since this languages is present inside that object and it is an array, I would, because it is an array, I am again iterating it using an ng for, right? And in this, what I would say, how will I bind? I would simply say L in languages, L of L dot name. So I would simply say L dot name. Right. So I got all the languages displayed here. Ireland has Swedish, Albania has Albanian, Algeria. Somewhere down the line, there would be India as well. Here we get. Right. So we have two languages, Hindi and English. Right. This is our area. I don't know what this area unit of this area is. Right. But overall, that is how you display your countries. Last country is Zimbabwe. It starts from there. I guess it is sorting it on the basis, it is sending it sorted on the basis of name. That is what it is trying to do. Right. So is it clear? I know it is complex, but still. Okay. Okay. Great. Right. So you have loads and loads of work to do today. What it means is, right, I will stop the recording here.